Everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Simon from Homesite, and today we're going to be covering part 3 of our creating our Lovelace interface. Let's go! In part 1, we created our assets. We created floor plans in Roomall. We created icons and buttons in Gravit, and we created overlays in GIMP, all free tools, and I took you step by step almost on how to use them. In part 2 of this series, we showed you quickly how to put those floor plans on, how to start using those overlays, and how to start using those icons, including state changes. We looked at changing the width, making them relative. We did all sorts of things like that, so that's well worth watching as well. But this one, we're going to do some more advanced stuff. We're going to do toggling of that background image, so we haven't got to have multiple tabs in our Lovelace interface. We can have it all on the same tab, which is pretty cool. We're going to add some more things like presence detection. So hopefully you'll like this video by giving it a little like down at the bottom. Hopefully you'll subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on any new upcoming videos. So I've already talked way too much, so let's get on with it. Okay, so we're starting from here. This is where we got to at the end of part 2. The configuration is all available in the description below. Now, if we have a look at this one, which is sort of what we're working towards, you can see we've got this option here, and we see what floor we're on. So we're now on the first floor, and we can toggle it back to the ground floor. Now, you might say, why is that needed? Because actually all I can do is I can edit my dashboard, I can add another one here, let's call that first floor, and I can add in, a second floor here. And if I close that, you can see we can toggle between first floor and second floor, ground floor, first floor, just by doing that. But I like it so the button is on the screen. So I'm just going to delete this one here. And we're going to add in that button, a bit like we've done on this one here. Before we go on, you want to make sure that you've got something like this within your configuration.yaml. We've got this input select part. Now this is a select floor plan, that'll give you the option with the name of floor plan and the options here of ground floor and first floor with the initial state of ground floor, and I've put a little icon for a floor plan there as well. Now obviously if you've got a basement, if you've got a loft or an attic, if you've got a guest house or an outbuilding or a shed or anything like that, you can put all of that into here. Now bear in mind, the more options you've got in there, you could have a very, very long configuration. So I've just going to use ground floor and first floor for now, and we're going to put all of our entities into separate sections for the ground floor and the first floor. So assuming you've done that, we can move this to one side. Now we are starting off with this config here. So we can turn off these entities and it shows the overlays. Pretty simple. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click edit, and now this is the basic config that we have here with those two entities that we're monitoring that both change the icon and an overlay. Now I'm going to go to this one here, and I'm just going to talk you through it just quickly. So starting off is the same. If you look at the top of here, we've got elements, type picture elements. We've got elements here. Now the first thing we're going to do is add a conditions in. Now the conditions is allowing the front end to do a selection based on what you state next. I.e., so this entity is this input select that we added into our config.yaml a minute ago. And we're looking at if the state is ground floor, then we're going to add in these elements here. Hopefully that makes sense. Now the first thing we're going to do is add in the background image, which is this ground2.png. So that's our background with the grey panel on the left hand side. We're going to say style is 50% to the left. I want no pointer events at all because I don't want to be able to click on it. I don't want to be able to hover over it and to get a name or anything like that. I'm going to say top is 50% as well, and width is 100%. So that puts it square in the middle and makes it full screen of your window. And it's obviously it's an image. Now I'm going to make this config available to you guys in the description below, of course. Now I've put in these comments here, which we know are going to get stripped out anyway, but you can build your config up in here. So we've got start ground floor lighting overlays. That's the first section that I would put together. I would put graphic overlays as well. In fact, someone on the last one asked me a specific question about a graphical overlay, i.e. if you've got a blind on a window, can you show it halfway down? Yes, you absolutely can. You do that in the same way as the windows, same way as the lighting overlays, but you wouldn't do it as transparent. And I do exactly the same thing for my garage door. Then we've got the icon buttons, which would include these lights here, but it also may include the door open, door closed. Now in those graphic overlays as well, you might include things like a TV graphic showing that the TV is on. So you can do all sorts of things in there. And then this final bit that looks a bit out of place, this type conditional, is actually, if I click at the beginning of type there and press up, and it will show me that actually that is in line with this elements section. So it's also in line with this, so that's the same as this condition. So that's the end of this conditions part. So that's where we put all of our all of our ground floor elements all go in that section there. And we've got exactly the same for the first floor. So first floor elements, I've put that comment there. We've got conditions. So we've got, actually I've made a mistake then, instead of ground floor, that should be first floor. In fact, that should be first floor, that's first there. In fact, all of these should be first as well. So I'm just going to amend all of those. Cool, so that's that done. And again, ends with type conditional. So again, that is the closing part of this conditions start. Make sense? I hope. The next bit is these bits on the left-hand panel and this grey bar here. I don't want those to be conditional. Well, I do, but I don't want them to be conditional based on whether you've got the first floor or the second floor connected. Now, you might want that. Now, if you do want them to be conditional, you just need to make sure that they're within, again, between here and here. So if you had control of air conditioning in areas or heating in areas or anything like that, then you could. Maybe the alarm, you've got an alarm separated between your first floor and your second floor. But all of my elements I'm going to put, all of my entities I'm going to put over here on the left hand side are all, I want to be consistent across both views. So I've got the left hand panel, my very top row is going to be these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of circles here where I'm going to put in avatars for different people in the family. The next I'm going to have the floor selection. The next I'm going to have some states like an automation state, an alarm state, house guest, house occupied, that sort of thing. Very last bit I'm going to put a state of cameras, but you can basically structure that however you want. Now it doesn't have to be in order, remember, unless you want something to be on top of something else. So anything at the bottom is always going to get put on top of everything but that's come first. And the very last bit here is the default image. Now this bit here you can see is tabbed right into the left, so that means that is tied in with this elements section here. So this is the start and this is the end. So that's basically the start and the end of this picture elements card. So let's copy all of that and paste it in here over the top and see what happens. So that looks okay. However, I've got no way of selecting the which floor I want it to be on at the moment. I'm just going to change that manually. There we go. So very next thing we do is add that button in so we can press the button and it will change. So back to my config in Notepad++, I'm going to find my section. So start left panel row 2, fantastic. And I'm going to paste in this. So very, very quickly, we've got an image type. We've got our style set, left 3.7, top 20, width 5. The tap action is going to call a service. This is the first time we're using that call service. And we're saying the service is input_select.select next. Okay. The service data chooses the entity ID or states the entity ID, and it's an image. And I'm going to do the same thing because I'm going to show a little floor, basically a little word that says floor, little image that says floor with a transparent background. And so that's that one. So that's the image_floor.png within my floor plan folder. The next thing I'm going to do is another input select floor plan. Now that is going to remain the same, this top one every time. This one is going to change. So it's going to show the current floor that we're on. So entity input select floor plan. So the hold action gives you more info. We're using our image as the floor 1. Now we've got our state image here, which changes between first floor and ground floor using floor 1 and floor G. So we've got ground floor and first floor. We set our style, we've got our tap action is call service, and that's just going to select the next one. Now if you've got multiple states, or you might have first floor, second floor, third floor, or however you've got that structured, this will just toggle through them. Now you could have it that you choose the in particular one with this select part, but I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to copy all of that, edit my dashboard here, and paste that in. And you can see that that's added it in here. If I press save, let's make it a bit bigger. I'm going to come out of there, and we're on floor 1 as you can see. And if I press it, it toggles to ground. So next thing I need to do is add in those entities that I've overwritten essentially for my office lighting and my hallway lighting. Okay, so let's get our notepad open again on Notepad++ where I've got my config. So this config here is the config with the floor selection. You can currently see that this section here, which is the lighting overlays, is empty. So back to my other config. So the start of lighting overlays. Now these are for the ground floor. So I'm going to copy all of those in. So this is my lighting overlays. Now make sure you're in the right bit, ground floor and first floor. So we're ground floor, which is fine there. And then I'm going to add in from this one again. I'm going to add in the lighting icons that we created last time as well. So this should be for the floor plan ground for the office and the hallway. I'm going to paste those in. And was there anything else we added? No, that was everything from that config. Great, so let's just try that. Copy all of that. So I'm doing Control A, Control C. So let's select all and copy. I'm going to edit this dashboard. So I'm going to select everything within here and paste. And we've still got a swirly icon, so something's not quite right. So let's have a look here. Line 97. Doesn't like that type conditional being there. Ah, right, here's the problem. Because these are all at the same level as this, these all need to be tabbed in. So let's show you a little trick within Notepad++. So you can see these, all of these lines. Now you can go through. Now this needs to be, this entity here needs to be the same level as this here. So we can, now we need to put in 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. I reckon that should do it. But we've got to do that for every single line all the way down here. So I'll show you a little trick. Press Alt and Shift and down. And you can see this little line appearing and flashing. Now that's going to mean that we're going to write everything to all of those lines. So everything we type now, so if I were to type Simon, it would type it on all of those lines. Obviously, I don't want to type Simon, I want to put 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces in. And that's sorted that out. And then we need to do the same for here. So Alt Shift down. One, two, three, 4. Cool. So let's try that. Control A, Control C, Control A, delete, Control A, delete, and paste. There you go. That looks good. So now we've got our icons in here that we can turn on and off with our overlays, and we can switch to ground to the other floor. So just to show you that on a bit of a bigger screen, so there's nothing appearing on the first floor. I'll just come out of this as well. I switch to this one for the ground floor. We can see our lighting overlays, and they've gone for that one. Pretty cool, right? So the very next thing we're going to do is add in our entities for our avatars, showing presence detection of the family up at the top here. So if we go to Edit, I'm going to delete all of this stuff because it's lost all of my comments and all of my structure. I'm going to copy it from my Notepad++ and I'm going to paste it into here. So now we can see here is the start of the left panel, row 1 here, people. So now let's build this up from scratch. So we're going to take in, we've got this floor one, that's a working example. So we can copy that, making sure that it's tabbed at the same level. So if I press down there, you can see that it's the same level. So we've got 2 spaces from the little hyphen there. Now the image we're going to use is not in the floor plan folder, it's in the avatar. Now I'm going to put the name of the avatar, so mine's called avatar _assignment _away.png, so that's going to be our default image. So we know that that's copy of the floor word, the floor icon here, so you can see my little face has appeared. So we're going to have to change the top, so let's make that 10, and we're going to have to tweak that around in a minute to get it to line up perfectly. The width we'll leave for now, let's just set that to 8. Oh, that looks pretty good. We'll have to have a better look in a second. Now our tap action, we don't want a call service node. We don't have this service data. Entity ID is not relevant there either. The action that we want is just more info. So that will show for our entity, for our person, that will show where they are on a map, hopefully. And it will show whether their status is home or away or unknown. The thing we haven't got on here at the moment is our entity, so I'm actually going to put that right at the top here. Entity, person, there you go, that's me. We also haven't got this state image, so we've got one of those down here for floor plan, so I'm going to copy this state image section. Now I'm going to have home, I'm going to have away. Now you might need to play with your, take a look at the person, your tracking for that. Now I use Life 360, I find that really good, and what status that gives you. Now I've also got office as well, so you can see when in the office, because you can set those sort of radiuses around certain areas. So I'm also going to put an unknown. Now we could have unknown, you could be holding up a little sign saying missing, or you could have at work, you could show carrying a laptop or something like that. So you can do all sorts of cool things with that. So I'm just going to copy this from up here. So this image section here, I'm going to put that to be my away. I'm going to put the same for my unknown, and home is just going to be the same string, but with home in it. So that's probably all I need for that one. So let's just press save to that one and see what it looks like. Now I'm greyed out at the moment, so if I click on it, in theory, it should come up and tell me that I'm home, but it shouldn't be greyed out. So let's have another look at it. Lost all of your comments, so luckily I copied it out first. So I pasted it back in, and I can see what the problem is. I can see that I've got capital H's, a capital A for away, and capital U for unknown. And when looking at the state, it is case sensitive. So you can now see that that's lit up a little bit. It's just changed from being greyed out to being a bolder colour. So just copy all of that before I go any further. Paste that into Notepad++ on my other screen, press save, and you can see that I've lit up there. If I were to manually change the state of this on my other screen, which I'll do now, you can see that's gone grey. If I click on it, you can see my status is now set to away. And I can see the history has changed as well. So we now just need to do that for our other elements. So I'm going to copy in over the top, put our config over the top, and this part here, my avatar, we're going to copy and paste a couple of times. Again, when you copy and paste, always make sure you get your spacing sorted out. So this is person.wife, And we have wife away, and we have the same in all of these. Now we need to move that a bit to the right. So this again is a bit of trial and error, so let's go with 10. That looks a little bit too far. Let's have a look. Let's press save, see what happens. No, you can see that that's too far over. Again, we would have lost all of our comments and any of our structure we've added in, which is a little bit frustrating, but alas. There we go. So I've pasted that back in from Notepad++. So here I've now settled on 9.5 for the left for that person, 7.8 for the top, and width of 5. Now you need to rinse and repeat for all of that until you've got all of your icons set up as you wish along there. Now as you can see, they are all away at the moment because they're semi-transparent. Now I've just got silhouettes for this example. Obviously you'd build your avatars of your family. So I'm going to set these to home. So that's me home. That's wife home. Girl home. And again, as always, you can see history. Now these aren't real people. These are, well, they are real people in my life, but they are not actually tracking on this at the moment. The only one that's really tracking is this one. Okay. So that's your row 1 done for your tracking of your avatars. So that's all we're going to do on this part. We're going to stop it there. Hopefully you've followed along. Hopefully you'll have a look in the description below and find all of the hard work that I've done for you, because I'm going to give you all of the assets. I'm going to give you all of the configs so that you can copy and paste it into your home assistant. Hopefully you've liked this page, hopefully you've subscribed already, to make sure you don't miss out on Lovelace Interface Part 4, where we will be adding cameras in. We'll be doing some other cool stuff like that. So thanks very much. I've been Simon from Homesite, and I'll see you next time.